Okay, so today we have all our friends around the world to share how they feel to use the 2020 platform for any martial art. Can be Wing Chun or can be Hapkido or can be other art, any other Chinese martial arts. Okay, so the platform 2020 is you use the ancient technology and you fuse it with today's sports science. So there's the platform 2020. Okay, so let everybody here to share whether is there any benefit or it doesn't have benefits or will it help the student. You know, everybody can share your own idea. And before that, please introduce yourself a little bit, okay? Because I know here you have Dick here. Hey, Dick, he's from Sweden. And then you have Dave here. You're in Boston, right, Dave?
That's right.
So you have Daniel here, is from Germany. Hi, Dave.
Hi.
And then you have another Daniel is from UK, right? Hi. So you know, so here you have Sifu in different martial arts, and you have regional for you. So I let everybody just speak whatever you feel, and there's no limit. You can say, you can just express yourself freely. Okay. So who wants to start first to share?
I can start. I'm the shy guy. I'm from Sweden.
Okay, Dick, please.
What I think with the benefit of the 2020 platform is that we need to map all ancient martial art or even modern martial art with modern sport science, because everything we do, you need to be able to measure it, because otherwise you can't see the development of the students or the people that's doing the martial art. So you need to map it with sport science, because sport science are developed training methods that will help us to develop our martial art. It's just that we need to find the training methods that is suitable and it's mapped to your own martial art and what benefits you get to it to develop the people that's training with you and yourself. So of course we need to map it with sport science. And if we have the modern tools that you can measure it with your heartbeat and your heart rate variables, then you get a better, you can do a better scheme what to do in what time to develop what things in a better manner. Because otherwise, before it was more a guessing game. Now we have the tools to measure it. And that's a big benefit, at least from my perspective. That's the way I see it, the greatest benefit with it. And it's continuously work, because the sport science are developing all the times. The electronics equipment we have is developing all the times. So I think it's a good future for all martial art if we can develop together different martial arts, learning from each other together with modern sport science, and help each other to develop training methods to get the students to develop faster and in a better and a correct body mechanic way.
Yeah, Dick here is actually experienced teacher in Hapkido and have been training Hapkido with Korean Grandmaster. So Dick, you still teach Hapkido today, right?
Yeah, I'm teaching Hapkido, and I'm teaching Taekwondo technology. I don't teach my competition team, because I leave that to the younger instructors, because their technology from the competition area is more modern than mine, and my interest to teaching competition Taekwondo is not that great. So I'm trying to teaching the body mechanics behind Taekwondo. And when I'm teaching Hapkido, I'm using the same method in Hapkido to train the body, so it's suiting for your martial art Hapkido. The benefit with my Hapkido teacher is that he got the knowledge, and we're having the training sets, that is designed for our art. And that is not many martial arts today having that or original design, the physical training design to develop your body to support your art. But we have that. I got that the last couple of years from him, and I write it down in English to have an explanation for it. I can send it out. If you send me your email, I can send it out, and maybe in the future I can do some videos and explaining, and maybe there are parts in there that you can use in your art, because all the arts from the beginning, they have common dominators, and they have differences. They have uniqueness, but they also have cross points, because most of the martial arts today, they have influence from different martial arts. Even if they call it original or whatever they call it. That's why we don't call it original Hapkido, we call it orthodox, because we want to keep the original design, but you're allowed to bring in the modern stuff. But I'm very straightforward and tell them this kicking is not from Hapkido, this is Taekwondo kicking. We practice it, but it's not Hapkido kicking. And the blocks and the entries from Wing Chun, I'm very honest, I tell them, this is not from Hapkido, this is from my Wing Chun knowledge, but we use it as an entry. And in Hapkido, we hit a little bit different, but you can use it in your art as long as you're telling this is from different art, it's a little bit different engine, but you can still use it in your art to develop your art.
So who would like to say next? Who would like to share?
So, yeah. Well, the way that technology is moving, it's important that we keep up to date with it. I think that is crucial. And the way that we can measure our recovery and the way our training, whether it's how much force we're putting out, whether it's in 2C state to see how much oxygen we're getting in. Of course, that's important, because how are we going to know without measurements? Without it, we're only going to be guessing. And that takes years, like years and years of trial and error. So with modern sport science, we can cut that time a lot, right? Because we'll have the measurement to see if we've got it right or wrong.
So then, Daniel, you have been in practicing Wing Chun and other martial arts too, right?
Yeah, I was practicing kickboxing about 2 years ago, and I had to stop because I was overtraining. I suppose I would go there. Sometimes I go training when I hadn't had much sleep, hadn't eaten much, and I ended up getting myself sick, and I had to stop because after training I'd be ill the next day, and I couldn't figure out why. But since I'm learning off you, I run hills now, and when I come home from running hills, I settle my breathing, and I instantly feel a difference. My breathing goes from being really crude and aggressive to being really smooth, and I feel amazing for it. It's a completely different way of training, and you can see if you've overtrained or not.
So you have been Wing Chun how long?
7 years I've been training Wing Chun.
Yeah. So
yeah.
It's good to have your input. Dave, you want to share something? Or Daniel, you want to share?
Sure, I'll share. My experience has been, I've been training Wing Chun for several years, but I've traveled to quite a few different places to train it with a large number of different instructors, and I've also taught Wing Chun. For me, I think the biggest thing is having not only viewing it as things moving towards Platform 2020, but having that ability to measure, not only measure my improvements, measure how things are, but how, if someone teaches me something, is it really of benefit? Is it something that I can really use practically? And is it in my mind, or is it something that I can measure? Can I measure, is this a better way to punch? Does it create more force when I create a punch? Is this something that lowers my heart rate? Or is this something that gives me more energy, where I sleep better and I wake up the next day and I have the energy to do what I need to? Without having the scientific measurement, I don't see how someone will progress in the long term to be able to reach that kind of top level of performance. And I know personally, since I began training with you, Hendrik, and following all the things that you teach, your classes and such, I've been able to do things that that surprise myself, including being able to lower my own heart rate, and lower it by a considerable amount just by focusing on calming myself and lowering it. I can lower it, in some cases, I can lower it by 12 beats per minute or more in a matter of seconds. And that's because I can just bring myself down into a calmer state, slow my breathing, and my heart rate drops immediately. And I know it's dropping because I'm looking at it on a heart rate monitor and I'm watching it. So it's not, I think it's going down, oh, I feel like my heartbeat's gone down. I scientifically can measure and witness it doing that. That's something that if you don't have that, you don't know if it's your mind tricking your perception of reality or is it real. And without doing that, I don't see how traditional martial arts can continue forward in a world of MMA where they are measuring every single bit of their biology and looking for that improvement in edge.
That's true. Yeah, I have to say, I've been training Wing Chun for 20 years now, and I've been teaching for I've been training Wing Chun for at least, I think it's about 23 years now, and I've been teaching for 20 years. And before I got in touch with Hendrik, I never knew about all these things. I never knew about heart rate. I never knew about diaphragm. I never knew about breathing, mind, and all that stuff. And I was then, I don't know, after 17 years, I was really interested in, and I was looking around and have watching in YouTube and this and that. And then I found Hendrik by accident. And I said, okay, this guy is real. He's realistic, because, you know, you can talk shit, if I can say that, or you can say the truth. And the truth is to be realistic. And if somebody's realistic to me, that means, okay, he's the right guy. And then I contacted him, and since then I'm learning from him. And it's like you said, Dave, it's you can monitor your training. You can see if your heart rate is high or low. And all these classes that I've learned from Hendrik, especially the last one, which is the 6 healing sounds, I sleep like a baby. I really sleep like a baby. I do my 6 healing sound, and when I go to sleep, right away I just fall asleep, and I'm really, really, it's really benefit for me and for everyone who did the classes, and it's really positive. And when I train, I know if I'm overtrained, I can monitor if my heart rate is low or high. When I do a technique, I do it differently. I watch my breathing, and I'm really, you know, I'm calm when I do that. And it's the same thing I do. I've been training BJJ for 8 years now. The same thing there. We do sparring on the ground, and my breathing is not going high because I know how to keep it low. I know if I have to accelerate. I know if I can. I know when I have to go down to get my breathing, to stabilize myself. And this is really crazy. And I know I can do that because I can monitor it, not when I'm sparring on the ground because I don't have a wearable on my arm, but I know how to do that because I can do it at home because I train that. And all this stuff is really, really important. And I think the ancient stuff should map with the platform of 2020 because we have the possibility to measure it. And why not? Like you said, Dave, all the MMA and everyone does that. Why shouldn't we do that? And this is really important. And that's why I like it. And Hendrik is being the first one who's doing it for Wing Chun. for all martial arts, but he's especially a Wing Chun guy, and nobody else does that. They only see, I don't know if I can say that, only the money, but they don't see the art, and the art is the most important thing, not the money. If you want to teach, you have to teach properly. You have to teach. You have to be serious. You don't have to be, you know, and like everyone else and see only the money. If you want to teach them an art, you have to do it with your heart and not with your mind, and only think about money. That's why I'm really, really happy what I've learned until now. And want to thank you for that, Hendrik.
The issue right now is this, right? Another issue is, do you think you will benefit your student using this 2020 platform, where now you have the scientific device to be able to verify it, or you will feel pressure because right now everything you do, you need to be able to verify yourself before you're going to teach to your students?
No, it's are you me or are you talking to me or to everyone else?
I think you're talking general.
Okay, in general. Okay.
In general.
Okay.
My approach is that first I need to understand it pretty good for myself, so that I can give a very good explanation to what I'm teaching. And but I'm using it in the school very much, and I see the benefit from the students, that they get a much quicker development curve on how they're performing, even if they're performing only for health benefit or if they practice for a competition. But everybody's benefit of it, because they get a better knowledge and they know that they can measure everything they do. And as soon as they get aware of that, they start to practice in a different way, especially the ones that is from the higher teenager and up. Kids are different. They just do it for fun anyway. So it's harder to get down to their level to get them understanding it. But at least the one from the teenager and upwards, you see a very much quicker development curve, and you also see that they get a different awareness of why they're doing things. They don't just do it. They know, okay, this is for practice your CO2. Okay, this is because they're gonna need to generating the energy to get faster, to get quicker. Okay, now we practice this. This is for getting down my pulse and getting me to more recovery state and things like that. As soon as they get aware of it, when it's easy for them to really get more focus, because they know why they're doing things instead of they just doing it. And I think that is a great benefit when you map it to the Sport Science 2020 together with the martial art. At least that's from my perspective.
You know, the reason I ask this is this, because I look at it that if you really map it to science and technology, then many people, we all become naked, because now we are subject to the verifications, and we are subject to, we need to walk our talk. So by telling you that, like for me, I am actually the 5th generation from Red Bull, it doesn't matter, because science is the base. And the second thing is that I just cannot stand there, sit down there and tell you, you must do this, mimic this like me. It doesn't matter, because I have to show you that if I do that, you will get your heart rate or your breathing rate or your impulse momentum. No, I have to teach you that way. So again, another thing is that, well, we all have a younger student. They will at some point better than you.
Of course.
Because we can go that.
Yeah.
Now you have all this pressure. Now you have all this pressure, right? Suddenly Hendrik is the bad guy. He opened up this thing and the entire world become chaotic, because right now, hey, you know, my title, who the world I learn with, even if I learn with Yin Wing Chun herself, doesn't matter anymore, okay? And then I have to walk my talk. So when I teach you something, I need to say, I cannot say, hey, this is the ancient secret. This is internal. I have to show you what it is, and so you can do. The third thing is I getting old. So at some point, you're better than me. And also, you might have talent where I don't have. Okay? So right now, if I call myself Sifu, then right now you have a student which is have attained higher level than you. So now this is a real issue in terms of human, right?
No, not really, because when you're moving from the competition part over to become a teacher, your job as a teacher is to get your students to become better than you, so the art can develop. Because if you're reaching to a certain level and you can teach somebody a quicker way to become to a level you never reach, then that student can tell you how beautiful it is on that level you never reach. That is my way of viewing it, because they can reach a new level. What's have happened in martial art for the last 150 or maybe 200 years, that every generation we're dropping knowledge, because the teacher want to be the god, and he don't share with everybody. And if you don't share with everybody, if I crash my car tomorrow and I haven't shared, it's gone. And I don't want that to happen anymore. I want the next generation to develop quicker, so they become better than me and can reach a level I never was able to reach, because I waste a hell lot of many years on garbage, because my teachers did the best they could, but their knowledge might not be on the level it should be. So the next generation are supposed to be better than I ever become. That is my goal, at least with my teaching.
Daniel, what do you think? You're teaching 20 years already.
Yeah, I'm the same. My goal is always I always say to my students, I want you to become better than me, because if you become better than me, the art can grow, you can develop, you're younger than me, you can do more things. And to me, this is really the most important thing. I love the art, I love the Wing Chun, I love all martial arts. And to me, when the students become better, I'm really happy. This is my goal. It was always my goal. I never said, okay, I want to be the best and this is the best. I want to be the best, yes, but for my students, I want my students to become better. And if I learn from guys who know what they're talking about, okay, and I give it to my students, it's the most benefit, the most, it's a gift to me. And I love it when I see my students, when we spar and they punch me, and then and when they punch me, I say, good, it's good, okay, keep on moving, keep on growing. This is the most important thing, and and I love it. I mean, if I'm not the Sifu who somebody touches me and I go like, you're not allowed to touch me, I'm your Sifu, all this stuff. That's not realistic. If somebody punches me, or my students, they get me, I'm happy and say, okay, keep on. I mean, and they go like, oh, I'm sorry. I say, listen, I'm human. I can teach you. I know more than you, but it doesn't mean that you're not allowed to touch me or to punch me or all that stuff. I mean, it's human, and we have to be realistic. And if I'm not in a good mood, and he's better than me, then he's better than me. Who cares? I mean, we all grow, and it's the main thing, that we grow together. And if they know more than me, that's perfect. It's fine. I'm fine with it. I don't care about.
And we need to get each other a punch sometimes, because we need to wake up, because we get lazy when we're teaching. I need to do some more exercise by myself. Isn't that correct?
Dave, what do you think?
I think that's true. I know on my journey so far, I I've been seeking out a lot of different people to try and learn as much as I can about the art and about the different approaches to the art. If you look at Wing Chun, there are so many different lineages and so many different approaches to achieve the same thing. It's mind-boggling how many different ways. There are literally, I've come across personally, I've probably interacted with 10 different lineages and then multiple instructors in many of those lineages. And the approach that those lineages have in some cases are incredibly different. I mean, incredibly different in how they approach things. Some things are very similar, but some things vary by a lot. And what I at least have to believe is that for some people, some techniques have been more effective than for other people, or they learned in a way that made one technique more effective than another. And I kind of see one of my roles in trying to ultimately transmit this to students and other things is to find what techniques I believe work best and provide that so that, again, they can uplift themselves and hopefully they can save themselves some time from learning techniques that don't go anywhere, that don't help them, that aren't effective in the real world, or, so I kind of consider myself a filter. So I kind of try to take an open mind and look at what all of the possibilities are. And then when I find something that works, figure out how to refine and focus on that, like the things I've been learning with Hendrik. And then the things that are garbage, I stop doing, or I go, I can tell that's garbage. And actually, as I told Hendrik, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, that Hendrik has ruined me from watching martial arts films, from watching other people do martial arts. I look at body signatures now and I'm like, what is this? That's horrible.
I got the same problem, Dave. I wanted to watch a movie, a Chinese movie, Kung Fu movie, an old one. I was watching it. I was saying to myself, what the hell are you doing there? That's stupid what they and I don't have the joy to watch them because of Hendrik. It's your fault, Hendrik. And then I watch other videos from other guys who are doing Wing Chun and or Tai Chi or whatever. Sometimes I send some videos to Hendrik and we just discuss about it. And even there, I start to watch his arm and shoulders and knees and this and that and that, and I go like, they're not doing it right. And and then because Hendrik, you were doing Kyokushinkai when you were younger, and I watched a few fights and a few videos on it on YouTube, and they're really tough guys, man. Really tough.
Yeah,
guys.
they are really tough.
Kyokushinkai are really, really tough, and the way they punch, when they get closer, it's similar to Wing Chun. The close body short strike. I mean, when they strike, they keep the arm really tight to the body and continue striking, and that's crazy. And this was fun. This was like, okay, this is realistic, and what they do is really, really works. Okay, and that's. But about the movies, that's true. I don't watch movies anymore. I don't like them anymore.
No,
no, really, it's crazy.
We have started to analyze everything we see.
Yes.
And everything you look at, you analyze it, and no, that's not good. And it's like, I'm a little bit lucky because my teacher in Korea, he's 74 years old, but he still likes to develop. So all the others don't question him, and I always question him. So, but what I question him with, I know that the next seminar outside of Korea, when I go down and assist him as his assistant teacher, he have taken part from what I have challenged him with. So, and because I'm the only one who does that, and that is not only Henrik. I have that kind of personality, but Henrik has helped me to get more technical in the details, and but it's really good because he still want to continue learning, and he's the same. He has been doing this since 1965, but he still want to continue to develop. So that's why I'm going to Korea to practice with him, because it's more of exchanging. Even he's older, he still can beat me up because he's a really tough guy, but but he's nice to me anyway. But at least he also getting this knowledge, Henrik's knowledge via me, because I'm trying to incorporating it into what we're doing. So
sorry. Yeah. So for me is that this is become the Platform 2020, it's not only for Wing Chun, I think for all traditional Chinese martial art can adapt to it and other martial art, because this become a science and education. So we be able to analyze. But that you teach everybody be able to analyze is actually make everybody naked, and so then you take away your special positions because people can analyze us. So that's
good.
The key, right? It's good in one sense. In another sense, is tough because you look at that guy. The reason I learned this analyze stuff is I start Wing Chun after I'm training Kyokushin. Okay, so I'm still doing those Kyokushin stuff today. Okay, I just practice in some. So if you think that you cheat out with me, actually, no, I practice low round streak a lot of time every day. Okay, now my instructor is a person who asked me to analyze stuff in Kyokushin. And my Wing Chun instructor, Sifu Tong Choi, is also like that. You look at your opponent, what did he do, what is his best, his speed, and all these things before you get in. If you don't know, if you cannot see, if you see too fast, he said walk away.
Yes.
Okay, so both of my instructor at that time in Penang, Malaysia, tell me, at that time I'm kids like 14, 15, 16 years old, I love to fight. So he said that you have to watch out, okay? You need to know who you face, what are you facing. Are you facing a cat or a tiger, okay? And know yourself. So that right now with this scientific stuff, when you fuse together, it become an education. The good thing is it can help people. The bad thing is take away all the scars and the stripe we have. So no longer that because I have this big name, I'll be superior. It's no longer that. It's like based on science, everything. So the Platform 2020 is actually in one way is a problem for those who want to do in the traditional way. That you always have to listen to me because I'm your Sifu. And the new way is this is an education. And everybody is equal. So that's how it is. And go ahead.
I think the instructors that's having this big ego or wanted to be the god in their style or whatever, I think they have problems with it. But the people who are doing this because they like the technology, they know there is an ancient technology that you can map to modern sports science, and you don't have this big ego because you realize, okay, I'm 50 plus. All the street fighting I was doing when I was 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, fighting a lot. Do I want anybody else to do that? Fighting on the street? No. Today, people wear guns. If you can learn to avoid to fight because you have a good confidence that you're well trained and you have been training in the sports science, I don't have that ego because I want people to always question the technology so we can prove that we're doing is correct. And if it's not is correct, body mechanic wise and scientific, then we need to adjust it to make it correct and make it better. And it doesn't matter if it's a white belt that's telling you this question. Yeah, I was thinking like this. And sometimes maybe they give you the best answer because they are still honest. And they can question your authority that you are this teacher or whatever stripes you get on your belt or whatever. So I think it's a good thing because it's make you think, and when you think, you know, you can develop the ideas and correct what is wrong. If you don't think, you do many things that people can't spot because you have the movements and what you're doing in your body. And if somebody don't give you that kind of questions, then you don't figure out a good explanation. You can transform that knowledge to other people. So for me, it's a good thing because I don't do this professional. In Sweden, you do it. You're teaching on in the spare time. I don't get paid for it. It's my way to giving back all my years I had in the national team, international referee, everything I've done in all the martial arts. Now it's my time to transfer that knowledge in a quicker way, so they don't need to go to the same rabbit hole I went into and wasting a lot of time doing a lot of mistakes because I didn't know better. And now when you have all this knowledge, I want to share it. I want to speed up the development, and I want to help everybody to become better than me, because if they become better than me, they look up to you as a teacher because you give them all this great knowledge and respect you as a teacher and a good person, instead of they only respect you because you have done martial arts for a long time. I think it's a better approach of it, because I see myself as a teacher, and I respect people, and I want other people to respect me for what I am, not because of big mouth or that I have 100 stripes on my belt, because your certificate in the end, it's only a piece of paper. It doesn't mean anything. Who you have practiced with, it doesn't matter if you practice with the founder or whoever, because maybe he didn't transfer the knowledge to you the correct way. So because everybody's human, we do mistakes, and together we can correct the mistakes and get it in a better path.
Okay, so who want to do the last sharing?
I'll say one bit, and that is, I think that one of the things that will happen with Platform 2020 is we will see people that move to 2020 and they will thrive, and those are the people that do not have giant egos and are not after the money. And I think the people that do have giant egos and that are looking for lots of money will not go, and they will ultimately die off, because everyone will evolve so far past where they are that if they're teaching, their class sizes will shrink. The amount of money coming in will shrink over time, because people will see, if everyone's wearing a wearable fitness device or something else, and they're hearing about these people that are seeing results and measuring them, and then they go into one of these classes and they don't see any results, they're going to leave. I would.
Good. Daniel, you want to say something?
No, I mean, everything was said, and like Dick said, I mean, if my students ask me questions, I answer them questions. I learned a lot from my students, and this is really, really important, because the questions they ask, I mean, when I started with Wing Chun many years ago and I asked questions, I go like, yeah, what is this technique for? The answer was, where did you get them from? You're not good enough to learn this technique. This was the answer. That's it. Now, and I always ask myself, why don't you give me an answer? And nowadays, when I teach, my students ask me something, I answer the question because I know what I have to answer. I know exactly what I'm doing, and all this stuff, and they can learn from it, and I learn from them, because everybody has different questions, and sometimes they say to me, "Oh, my question, this is not a good question." I said, every question is good, and every question we can progress together, and that's really important to me. And the like Dave said the 2020 platform, if I can measure it and I see results, I stay with it. If I don't see results, I keep on searching until I found my right teacher who can really teach me what I want to learn. I want to learn when I have to rest my body. I want to learn how can I rest my body. I want to learn, okay, how far can I go? Am I able to fight? Do I have the body for fighting? Or do I have issues with my body, with my heart, my lung, or anything else? And this is important to know, because like you show in the C model or the H model, you can tell, okay, I have heart issues. I better stay at zone 1, 2, or better to stay in the rest zone. Okay, if I have this issue, I can go up to zone 3. If I'm fit, I'm young, I don't have any issues, any problems with body, I can go up to zone 4 and 5. And this is, everybody should know that, because it's really important, because nobody wants to damage his own body. And this is, and as long as we have technology, and we have technology for many years now, and it's growing and growing, it's, and which is good.
Garmin. You still need to buy the Garmin. Okay, Apple is not good.
No, I didn't. I still have this watch.
I use a Polar today. I keep switching too.
Okay.
So good for one.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Okay, thank you everybody for today's. Okay.
Thank you.
We can keep have a different discussion next time from different topics.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate for sharing. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you
so much, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.